finally came on. It finally came on, Hannah. Because it didn't come on all day till now. You know what I'm saying, Hannah? Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is good. Okay, so here's the rest of my symptoms from, hey Hannah, what's up? Here's the rest of my symptoms from the gluten. Okay, and here's the test that I took. This is something I printed out that shows whether or not you have celiac. The ABS-IgA, and that, it sounds like that's what I took. ABS-IgA, but you're supposed to take these other 3 tests too. TTG, IgA, transglutaminase, endomysial. Sounds like I took that first one back in 2017. Deamated gliadin ABS-IgA. And here's the test that I took. Oh, but funny how, you know, back then, I'm sure I was having symptoms, but they weren't hardcore. So I was, no telling how many years I would have been coming up borderline or whatever, but I actually came up borderline. Notes on gliadin AB test. Gliadins are closely related to proteins are found in wheat, rye, barley, and other grains. These proteins may trigger an immune reaction to some individuals. Patients on a gluten-free diet who have not been exposed to gluten for 3 months or longer should have a negative SIGA response to gliadin. Because see, I was still eating it and everything when I took this test. Borderline is 13 to 15 UML, whatever that means. Positive is greater than 15. And my result number 14 back in 2017. So I was borderline, and that's what she told me. She's like, this is showing, you know, you're borderline. This is showing, you know, you can't handle gluten. But she said I was borderline. And, of course, which is interesting because I wasn't having hardcore symptoms back then, and now I am. So now, of course, if I was to take the test and still eat gluten, it probably would show up way above 15. But I can't tolerate it at all now because I instantly get horrid stomach pain, so I can't tolerate it at all now. And then it's going to give me the shits, and then probably give me hypoglycemia and everything else. So I don't eat it at all now, and it's only been a little more than a month. But according to this, if you didn't eat gluten for 3 months, if you took the test again, you're going to show up as negative. Because see, I had all this gluten in me when I took the test, so that's why it came up, you know, borderline. Beginning July of 2015 cannot be reported unless a non-cotton bile. Oh, I don't know what that means. Gliadin. Oh yeah, see, that's what I took. Gliadin ABS-IgA. See, I took this first one right there, and then supposedly, see, this is celiac disease comprehensive panel. So I'm positive right here, but I would still have to take that, and that, or whatever, to see if I have celiac. But I mean, hello, if I'm sitting there eating gluten, and then all of a sudden I get stomach pain, like, and then I gotta take a shit, you know what I'm saying, I get diarrhea, I mean, that's immune, that's attacking, it's, what do you call it? It's immune response, you know what I'm saying? Something's immune reaction, you know what I'm saying? So they're, you know what I'm saying, because they say, if you have this immune reaction and it's apparently it's attacking my intestines, or I wouldn't have to, you know, I wouldn't be getting diarrhea or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I probably do got celiac, but whether or not I have a lot of damage, you know, maybe not. Because I just started having, well, I've been having symptoms for a long time, but not hardcore symptoms till, you know, a month ago or whatever. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. So basically, like I say, I showed up positive here, basically. and then I would still have to take that, and then that could, I guess, that would have to show something, and then you could be called celiac. So, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's kind of all the same thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm sitting there eating gluten, then all of a sudden I get these bad stomach pain, then all of a sudden I gotta go to the bathroom, something's attacking something, you know what I'm saying? Because they say celiac is an immune response or whatever. But I doubt I'll take any of those other tests because I already know to stay away from gluten, and now I have no symptoms whatsoever. It's called Diagnostics. This is like a $550 test. But it tested for a lot of adrenal hormones, and like I say, she didn't tell me, she didn't say, oh, it was also going to test for gluten. So what am I supposed to think when she comes to me and is like, this is showing, you're borderline. This is showing you can't handle gluten. And then she started giving me a list of things I could eat, and not eat. Like all the grains and stuff I could eat and not eat. She gave me a list. But I didn't believe her anyway, so I just kept on eating gluten till over a month ago. Oh, here's some of the other symptoms I was having, though. That I forgot to say in the other video. Oh, okay, let's see. That's getting hot. Hannah, am I disturbing you, baby? Oh, see, I don't have my computer glasses on. Actually, I need to take them off. Okay, so, yeah, so I had this horrid indigestion feeling, like a couple months ago. It was this horrid indigestion feeling, like, ugh. And it kept feeling like, it was about to, form into, heartburn, but it never did. But that was the first time I ever had such a horrid indigestion feeling. And that was like a couple months ago. It was pretty recent. And then also, a few years ago, I had this left side lower pain that was just constant. And I heard that is one of the symptoms. You could just have a little bit of pain on the left side or right side, and it's just constant. But it wasn't horrid pain like I had, a month ago or whatever, right after I ate the 2 pieces of bread. And back in 2014, I had some like left side more upper pain that kept feeling like something was alive and moving in there, and I kept thinking it was the aliens tampering with me, which it still could have been. Anyway, it lasted like 1 month or maybe a little bit longer, and it just kept feeling like something was just kind of, I don't know, moving or something. So I don't know if that was like an alien baby or if that was gluten problem, and that was back in 2014. And like I say, and I think eating gluten had been exacerbating my hypoglycemia. If you already have problems with that, which I do. Also, nervous system problems. And I've been having that symptom. I think I even had it before 2010. I can't remember, but I know I had it in 2010. And then several times, 1 or twice per year after that. Like you get this urge, which makes sense because gluten messes with your nerves, supposedly. So if you're already eating all this gluten and it's in your dookie and stuff, and your body is about to expel it, it does something to my nerves because I would shake like uncontrollably, for 30 minutes. But at least now I know, when I do that, I mean, I know it goes away, but it takes about 30 minutes, so I'm not so scared anymore when that happens. But yeah, so like if you have the urge like to go to the bathroom or whatever, like I would start like, I don't know, you could tell it's doing something to my nerves, and I would start shaking, and then even afterwards I would start shaking like uncontrollably for like 30 minutes. And the last time that happened was one time in September, and then one time in September, and then another time in November. The gluten does something to your nerves, and if you already have a nervous system condition, it just magnifies it. Because see, a pituitary problem is a nervous system condition. Duh. Okay, so I believe that symptom will get better. I may not ever get it again since I've stopped gluten. It never did happen to me every time. Just sometimes. Whenever you get the urge like to go to the bathroom. Okay, okay, here's the other symptom. Yeah, so actually that one symptom where I told you about, like, I would try to go to sleep and I couldn't go to sleep because gluten somehow it I don't know, it makes things thicker, like your mucus or something. So, sometimes it would develop some big old lump in my throat. And in a way that could be considered insomnia because it's happened even when I would try to go to bed for the night and even on the day bed, like I tried to go to sleep and I couldn't because it's somehow interfering with my breathing. And I already mentioned that symptom in that last video. So in a way that could be considered insomnia. Okay, so what was the other one real quick? Oh yeah, the other symptom I forgot to mention was I wasn't getting extreme vertigo every time, but I guess lots of times, I probably was not eating a lot of gluten before bedtime. And then other times I was, and then that's when I would wake up with vertigo, and that isn't my normal pituitary problem dizziness. This is extreme vertigo where it's like I can't even walk straight. It's a different kind of dizziness. And I would get that, many times, but not like every morning. But it only happened like when I would wake up in the morning because, sometimes it takes many hours for symptoms to manifest. And apparently I would eat something high in gluten and stuff, and the next morning, like I couldn't even walk straight. But it would go away after about 30, 45 minutes. And then one time, I think it happened at work after I was already awake and everything. It happened at work, and then I actually went home. Yeah, and I'd probably eaten a lot of gluten, and then that symptom came on. But vertigo, not a hypoglycemic kind of dizziness, but this is vertigo where you can't even walk straight. Okay, oh, and then of course, anemia issues. I was borderline anemia, but didn't know it till either 2016 or 2017. I didn't know it till then that I had borderline anemia issues because whenever I took the test at the doctor's, it always showed, that I wasn't anemic, but apparently I was borderline. And one way you could tell is if your tongue is white all the time. And my tongue was always white all the time. And now it's like getting like pinkish and reddish. And I'm sure it's going to get redder and redder, but because it's only been a month since I've given up gluten. And so my tongue is getting redder and pinker because I'm not eating gluten. I forgot why, but it somehow interferes with absorption of iron. So I think that's crooked. So that symptom is getting better. And the funny thing is, I was even taking some iron pills, some really low, like, milligram iron pills, because I'm not about to take no, 800 milligram or whatever. And then, I get the best grade. I don't take that crap the doctors try to give you. I got this really good iron, 26 milligram, from Amazon. And it's funny how I noticed it seemed like it wasn't working. And now all of a sudden, it's working. And I haven't been taking it every day, but it's working now. And of course, I don't have gluten in me, so I'm absorbing iron better, apparently, because my tongue isn't like all white anymore. It's starting to turn, reddish pinkish. And that one doctor told me that he knew I had borderline anemia issues, and I'm like, that's weird, because every time I went to the doctor and had tests, they never mentioned that. I mean, you got to be your own doctor, because these stupid doctors, they're all demonic, and all they want to do is kill you. Okay, so I'm done talking about gluten. This looks crooked. Yeah, so, oh yeah, another thing I was gonna say was, when I was an infant baby, my mom was always worried about me because I would sleep 12 hours straight. My brother didn't, my sister didn't, and so my mom, she brings it up like twice a year. She'd be like, yeah, you always slept 12 hours straight. And so she would ask the doctor, like, should I wake her up? Should I wake her up? And he said no. So my mom never woke me up or anything, and I was like, Mom, I'm glad you didn't wake me up, because I was probably having all sorts of awesome, lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences. So anyway, that's kind of relevant because, because the alien's been doing this, all my life, giving me these awesome, 20-hour scenarios, in my altered state and other dimensions and realms, except I believe they're created for me, virtual reality or whatever. Well, whether or not they're really real or artificial, they could all be artificial, but they feel real, so that's good enough for me. Because this dimension is supposed to be artificial too, so it doesn't matter if it's artificial dimension or really real dimension, it doesn't matter. So that's kind of interesting, that I slept 12 hours as an infant baby, and like I say, I guess my mom, she always knew that was a little strange, I guess she probably always thought I was dead or something. So anyway, I'm glad the doctor told her not to wake me up. Okay, so like I said, that's kind of relevant. I mean, that's kind of relevant because, I'm sure the aliens were giving me all sorts of cool shit when I was an infant baby. And so, it's getting hot now because it's not real cold outside. So, what was I gonna say? What I was gonna say was, this morning I slept 11 hours, but I did not sleep, 11 hours without waking up. I woke up a couple times to go pee-pee or whatever, but I did, sleep 11 hours today. And, man, I've been sleeping so good. I tweaked that bed in the front bedroom, and I'm sleeping like so good now. Well, I've always slept good, but I sleep even better now because I got it all stable. I put some boards into there in between the futon mattresses, and oh my god, it's perfect. So yeah, so normally I don't sleep 11 hours, but if I go to bed early enough sometimes, and if I don't have to work the next day, then I can sleep a long time. If I go to bed late, then sometimes it's hard for me to sleep after, 8 or 9 o'clock, because I'm used to getting up at that time or whatever, or 7 o'clock. But yeah, I went to bed. I was probably asleep by 11 last night, and then I didn't get up till about 10 o'clock. And I did get, I guess I could talk about that now, but I did get an awesome lucid dream this morning, and it seemed like it kept, I don't know, I think after I got up and went pee, I continued on with it. But anyway, I was in a high school, and the aliens have done that many times. They put me in high schools, because I used to go to that high school up the street. And I was like roaming around the basement, which is the first floor, and then there's a second floor, and then there's a third floor. And I was just roaming around this high school for hours and hours and hours. And it was like I was visiting though. And I was still like my current age, or maybe a little bit younger. And I was roaming around with these two lesbian looking girls. And they were like students. Like one of them had like really short brown hair. And but they were students, and we were walking around forever and ever, having conversation. And And then there was a time where I met up with some older girls, and they were probably about my age or a little younger. And I had some conversations with them. I can't remember what I said, or what I said, or what they said, but I remember one part walking around the halls and stuff. I had misplaced my dang water bottle, and so I was like, okay, I gotta go try to find my water bottle. And so I was trying to find my water bottle. And, but at the end, and like I say, this scenario lasted probably, I don't know, I was probably in the high school 5-6 hours in non-3D time. But, getting hot. But, at the end of the scenario, after the 5-6 hours was up, okay, that's weird. My radio was flashing. I just looked at it and it was flashing 11:11. It's blinking. I don't have it on. I don't know, when you turn the radio off, the clock flickers. And I just looked at it, it was like 11:11, 11:11, 11:11. It's still rolling. The clock is off though, because it's not 11 o'clock. But it's still rolling. It was 11:11, and now it says 11:12. But this sounds kind of weird. Okay, so that happens a lot to me. Like every day, I'll look at the clock and it'll say 2:22 or 11:11 or 10:10. Okay, so anyway, yeah. So at the end of the experience, after I got sick of walking around the high school forever and ever and ever, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some parts, but so after I got, and this was more like it was more of virtual reality, lucid dream, but I was also out of body. It didn't feel like 3D, felt like I was in another dimension. And so after I got sick of being in the high school, walking around forever and ever, I was asking the two younger girls that were walking around with me, do you want to go to the mall? I asked them if they wanted to go to the mall. And they kind of acted like they didn't want to leave the high school, and they said, well, there's too many odors and stuff in the in the mall. And I was thinking, I mean, there's plenty of gross odors in this high school. And I remember we were walking, I was already walking, we were already at the end of the hall, and the doors were right there. And that's why I asked them, I was ready to leave the high school. And I figured they would maybe want to go do something fun. And so I asked them if they wanted to walk around the mall. And they, one of the girls, that weird brown hair, that short brown hair, that one, she's kind of short. She's like, well, I don't want to, she's like, too many weird odors and stuff at the mall. And it's funny that she said that, because the alien copied that. When me and Mom, not too long ago, we were walking around the mall, and then we were walking towards the patio, and the patio, they were redoing the patio. And then I was like, ew, what does that smell? Like, I don't know, some kind of chemical smell. So we turned back around. I told my mom, let's turn back around. It was just some gross, chemical industrial smell or something. But like I say, they were redoing the patio. I don't know what it was, but I would not be surprised if I know some people are going to think this is far-fetched, but I guarantee you it's not. I wouldn't be surprised if places, well, actually the malls, they're all going to close up anyway before long. That's a thing of the past. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're killing everybody by food, the air, and everything else, all other ways. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're putting some little hose up there and spraying some kind of shit down into the air. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised. So you may not want to go to heavy populated stores or anything like that. But the mall was dead. It was a Friday afternoon, and it was dead. Back before my grandma died, I remember going in there prior to 2016 or whatever, or not long before 2016, or not long before she died. It was pretty busy that day, but that was like a Saturday at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. this was around the same time, but on a Friday, you know, recently, a few months ago or whatever, but it was dead. The mall was dead. But actually, the smell was probably from, because they were redoing the patio. Like, I don't know, it was disgusting. And my nose is really, really sensitive. My sense of smell. Okay, so yeah, here's another experience. So that was fun. That was this morning. I mean, I wish I would have got a little better, but and they've taken me into high schools many times, and it always and yeah, in this scenario, it seemed like the high school that I went to in real life. A lot of times it did. In my past experiences where they stuck me in high schools, a lot of times it totally seemed like a different high school, but 8 times out of 10, it was like the exact one that I went to in real life. Okay, this is kind of funny. Okay, this was like 2 or 3 mornings ago. I asked the aliens to take me to I'm gonna watch. I think I'll watch that tomorrow. I'm gonna watch the Grinch again. I love that cartoon Grinch. I like the older one too, but anyway. So I asked the aliens to take me to Whoville, and they took me to Los Angeles instead via OBE virtual reality lucid dream. Okay, this is how it went down. This was like 2 or 3 mornings ago. So like I said, I was asking the aliens take me to Whoville. You know, because I was just wondering if they could, you know, create something cool or whatever, like the cartoon Grinch. And so this is how it went down. So, okay, it's like I was walking along. Okay, it's like I was in the outskirts of Los Angeles, and it totally like I knew I was in Los Angeles because the aliens already programmed me to know that. And I knew, oh, and it was sunny, by the way, and what felt like 70 degrees. It was sunny. And I totally felt like I was in the West. Like, I mean, I could just feel it, you know. It felt like Los Angeles. Felt like I was in the West. The aliens, like I say, they have ability to make you feel all those things. Okay, so anyway, this is how, it wasn't, I mean, it was probably, in non-3D time, it probably lasted 2 hours, you know, in non-3D time. This is kind of a quicker experience. Okay, so anyway, so I was like walking along. It seemed like I was walking along kind of fast too. Over, you know, there was like nature, woods over here, woods over here. I don't know where the aliens got that from. I'm sure there was a movie or something I saw a long time ago. Maybe that's why they put that in there, but now this other lucid dream is coming back to me from billions of years ago. Kind of similar, where there's like woods and a train. But that's the only thing that I can remember from this experience millions and millions of years ago that just came back to me. But, cause like I said, the aliens, they'll put almost exact same scene sometimes, you know, in my scenario that they've done before or whatever. So, or very similar, like with the basement thing and stuff. Like, they'd be stick me down and make me go down into the basement. And when I'm under the scenario, I'm like, I've been down here 2-3 times before. You know what I mean? Under an altered state. And then when I wake up, I'm still thinking, okay, the aliens have put me down there, you know, more than once. So they do that sometimes. Okay, so I was walking along, nature. There was woods over here, and there's a big moving train moving this direction. And I was walking like real fast this direction. And I don't know why the aliens placed me so close to that train, but I was just, you know, a few inches from the train. And so the train was moving that way. And this is what was kind of funny. All the people, I was just looking at everybody in the train. All the carts were kind of like open, you know. Open to where I could see all their faces and everything. And it was nothing but inmates. it was nothing but what do you call it? Felons, convicted felons, and they were inmates. And for whatever reason, I guess they were hauling. The aliens didn't tell me exactly, but the impression that I got when I was in this scenario, you know, they were just happened to be, you know, hauling people from a certain prison to another prison. Because they do that sometimes. They move you around when you're in prison. They move you to other prisons sometimes. And so I was like looking at everybody. And the funny thing is, they all look like foreigners. I mean, every single one of them looked like foreigners. They did not look American. They look Russian. They look German. I didn't see any black guys or anything. They all were white, but they were European for sure. And they all looked really rough. And but every single cart, I mean, it was just all filled up full of inmates. And like I say, the train was moving this direction probably at about 25, 30 miles an hour. And I just was, as I was walking through, or kind of walking fast in the woods as the train was moving, I was just trying not to, you know, get hit by the train. I was trying not to get too close to the train, but as I was moving along, I was just like looking at all the inmates and stuff. And, okay, so basically I was going north and the train was coming south. And so then I got to my destination and, well then, I was still kind of, you know, at the outskirts of Los Angeles. There was like a few buildings, but not a lot. And like I say, there was that one, you know, the railroad tracks and the train. And then by the time I got past the train and everything, it just was, like I said, I was kind of like in the outskirts of town. And there's trees and stuff and maybe a couple buildings. And then, well, then I met up with this person. And then it gets all sexual and stuff. Okay, so then I started making out with this person for a long time. But like I say, we weren't in a building or anything. Like I say, we were in nature, basically. There's trees and maybe a couple buildings, but we weren't inside a building. We were just sitting there, like, in the grass and stuff. And we were just, like, making out. And the aliens copied that. Sometimes they'll even kind of put, like, 50% that person that I've seen before in 3D, 50% this other person, and just kind of put them together. Because in this scenario, this person I was making out with, and we made out for a long time. And, yeah, the person I was making out with, it seemed like it was a mixture of two different people, and that's not the first time the aliens have done that. It was a mixture of two different people. And like I said, they've done that before. But anyway, so that was kind of a quick experience, but like I said, it probably lasted about 2, 3, maybe 4 hours in non-3D time. Whereas some of my lucid dreams, it'll feel like they've lasted like 12 or 13 hours in this scenario. And this was kind of a quicker one, but it was just cool to look at all those inmates, and it's like they were like very foreign. They were not Americans. And I don't know where the aliens got that from, but it was still fun. But yeah, I know I get laid more than anybody on planet Earth. Not in 3D, but in non-3D. And sometimes it's highly sexual stuff, and a lot of times it's not. It's just making out and stuff. Okay, so that was one of my cool experiences a couple mornings ago. And then the high school one was fun. What was this other one? Oh, okay, okay, so this was, well, I can't remember if it was yesterday morning or the morning before. But when I laid down, I talked about this in another video of how the aliens will, they'll take me out of body while I'm totally awake. And then they're tampering with my astral body. They're programming it. Ethereal astral body. And then they're giving me this awesome out-of-body experience, lucid dream, whatever they want to give me in the morning time. I was asking for an experience this time, but when I laid down a couple mornings ago, it was past midnight. It was a few minutes past midnight. And I was laying there, you know, trying to go to sleep. I had just laid down. And that's when they always do it, when I just lay down. And I was completely awake, and then I could tell them, I could feel them pulling me out of body. and then you kind of start spinning. But they're doing it. I mean, yeah, sometimes they could do it at your bedside, but most of the time they're kind of like doing it remotely. Is that the right word? Well, they're not exactly right there in your bedroom, but they're kind of off at a distance. But they can still take you out of body and acquire your astral body. And so this is what I got. So they did that, and it had been a while since I felt that. Since I felt them do that. And like I say, 9 times out of 10, they always like doing it when I'm totally awake. And they'll even do it when I'm on the couch sometimes. So it was a little past midnight. And so they took me out of body while awake. And then, this is what they gave me in the morning time. It was just more like... it was virtual reality. I was out of body. It was virtual reality, but it was more lucid dream as well. And it kind of started. There was one part of it where I was roaming around a neighborhood on a bicycle, and then for whatever reason, I don't know why the aliens created this for me, but it was fun. But it's like then all of a sudden, after I was on my bike for a little while, roaming around a strange neighborhood, then I'm on roller skates. Not roller blades, but normal roller skates. And I used to roller skate quite a bit, when I was younger, up at this place up the street. And so I started like skating down this steep parking lot like really fast. And to control my speed, in real life I would do that. To control your speed, you kind of like drag your foot to the left or whatever, or to the right or whatever. And to kind of control your speed when you're roller skating. But I was like roller skating like all professionally, like really fast down this parking garage type of thing. Yeah, it was like a parking garage. And it's like I was doing it like all professionally and stuff, which is kind of funny. Because that was really never my thing, I never really liked roller skating too much. I like basketball and stuff like that. But in the scenario, it's like I was professionally skating like really fast, and I know the aliens probably got that from when I would watch snowboarding videos or something, and they kind of showed how you stop or whatever. But anyway, so they gave me that scenario after they stole me. They tampered with it, programmed it, and gave me that awesome lucid dream where I was roller skating, super fast. And I even felt like I was going to hit like the wall and stuff, but I never did. Because I was able to like still go really fast and able to like stop abruptly by pulling my foot, dragging my foot to the side or whatever. So that was kind of fun and interesting. Okay, and then this other experience was, this was in 3D, but it was kind of funny. I was going to keep the balloon. I did keep the balloon a little while, and then I thought, I'm not going to talk about it, or I could just talk about it, but I was going to show the balloon and everything, but I did keep the balloon for a while, and then I threw it away. But this is kind of funny. This was in 3D, and this was about, it was before it got winter, about, I don't know, maybe about 10 weeks ago or so, maybe about 10 weeks ago, 2.5 months ago. It was a very, very windy day. It was a Sunday. It wasn't dark yet outside. I guess it got dark at 7 o'clock back then, and it was probably around 5:30. It wasn't dark yet. It was still daylight, and it was really, really windy. And all of a sudden, I was standing there on my porch, and I saw this silver thing. I couldn't tell what it was. It just manifested, just bam, right there in the middle of the air. About the height of the house. And it was just like slowly, it was just slow, and like I say, it was really, really windy outside. But it was just like slowly going like this, and it was kind of moving, and it was just slowly going like that, and it was moving. And I was like, what is that? What is that? I couldn't tell what it was, and then I thought, oh, that's a drone. Somebody's playing with a toy drone. Well, then I realized, it wasn't a toy drone. It wasn't a drone at all. But then I realized there wasn't any noise or anything coming out of it. And like I say, it was you know, it was like moving and stuff. It was like rotating, but it was still it was just going in a straight line. The wind was blowing it in a straight line. And I was just like, what is that? What is that? And, okay, so like I said, I thought it was like a drone, like somebody was playing with a toy drone. And it was silver. And then, it was so funny, and then I watched it and watched it and watched it. And it landed, like that second, there's like, they already built like 5 or 6 houses. It landed on that second house from the street. It landed on the roof. And it was a silver, well, I'll tell you what it is in a minute. It was a silver thing. And it landed on the roof. This is in 3D. It landed on the roof. And then it landed on, you know, like that, you know, that part of the roof, the slant. And then the wind blew it down to the ground. And then I hurried up and got into my car and drove around there, you know, went down, or, you know, drove down the road. And then I parked my car over there by the sidewalk, and then I got out of my car, and then I went to pick it up, and it was a silver balloon. But as it was, you know, the air was already out of it. There was no air in it. You know, it was just completely out of air. There was no air in it, even when it was, you know, flying like this, and it was just kind of moving. It was flying just real smoothly. But it was, but like I said, I don't know how long the air had been out of it, but I think maybe it was a balloon that came from that neighborhood way over there, and maybe it was, they had the balloon up with air in it and everything, and maybe it was, they were about to show a house or something. Did they normally put balloons up when they show a house? But it had like a magic marker, like number 5 on it, as far as I remember. It was either number 5 or number 7. But anyway, I swear to God, I think the aliens did that. I think they, you know, after it already blew out of air and everything, they somehow picked it up from over that neighborhood, and I think they just teleported it to where I could, like, it just manifested just right there, you know, which was just right there, back behind my house. I didn't, you know, it was just there. It didn't blow all the way from that neighborhood, but I figured that's probably where it came from. That big old neighborhood over there. And maybe they were showing a house and it was a balloon, you know, that had air in it, you know, to begin with. But when it manifested on, I saw it, and it was just like that, and kind of moving, you know, it was all flat and stuff. And I couldn't tell what the heck it was. Well, so it was a silver balloon, but it was odd shaped. Like when I spread it out on the garage floor, it was like, it wasn't a heart. It was like a, I don't know, like an octagon or something. It was like an odd shape. It wasn't completely round. And like I say, it already, you know, had a slit in one part because the air was already out of it and everything. So I don't know when the air got out of it, but by the time I saw it, the air was already out of it. And that's why I couldn't tell what the heck it was. And, like I said, I thought it was a drone, but then, it's just kind of funny because everything I learned, like, paranormally or, like, all experience is so weird. Like, this one woman was talking about, like, how the aliens can give you anxiety really bad, and then all of a sudden, a couple of nights later, like, I started getting a real bad anxiety feeling. And it's, like, so weird, but that's how it's always happened in my life. And that one woman, that's one of my subscribers, Fairy Tales or whatever, she was talking about an alien balloon experience. So I told her I had a balloon experience too. And I swear to God, the aliens did that. They teleported that balloon that was already out of air, you know, so it was already flat, and just manifested just right there, and then it just in a straight line. I'm like, and it's just kind of funny how it landed on the roof, and then it fell off the roof. And, but that was kind of funny. But like I said, I think it was a balloon that they probably, you know, had put up when they were showing a house or something over in that neighborhood over there. But it was kind of funny. And like I said, it was like, not quite the height of, it was the height of the house, but not quite so high it wasn't quite the height of the very, very top, more like the middle of the top of the house. And it was just, but the funny thing is, the aliens have done this before with the freaking asteroid. Back when I was 4 years old, I didn't have a job or anything, but I think I was about to go. It was March, and the sky was really weird and gray clouds are really weird, and they said that we were having meteorite showers, and that was back when I was 24, and I was about to go to the college. I'd already graduated, but I was going to go back to the college that day to look for jobs or something like that, and I was living at home, and I went out into the back porch at the side of the house. I went back down the porch, and I looked up, and there was this asteroid. I mean, well, actually, I don't know what it was. It looked like a big rock, and it was a pretty good size. Probably 12 feet by 5 feet. I mean, it was pretty good size, and it was really, really, really low. It was low. And, I mean, it wasn't that high up in the sky at all. And like I say, this was anomalous. This was basically a UFO. But the UFOs, aliens have never, all the UFOs they've ever shown me were like airplanes, asteroids, balloons, weird things. Or a big orange shooting globe of light. They've never actually showed, or a big old bright light that just comes shooting down, like it happened a couple years ago on my driveway. They've never actually shown me like discs or triangles. Well, in my altered state they did. They showed me triangle UFOs and other UFOs in my altered states. But in 3D, they've never shown me discs or dildo-looking things. Discs, dildo-looking things, triangles. They've never shown me that in 3D. It's always these odd-looking UFOs. But some people do actually see, they do show triangles to some people in 3D or discs. Actually, my parents, not too long ago, they saw a UFO when they were going down to Arkansas, where their cabin is. They actually did see a UFO, and it was a silver disc, and they know it was a UFO. My stepdad, he's an experiencer. Well, so was my mom, but my stepdad actually knows it. And but me, they always show odd things, So anyway, that that balloon is kind of like a UFO. But anyway, the asteroid thing, I mean, it just was like going like, just like that balloon they showed me. It was just going so slowly in a straight path like that asteroid. Just like, and then it was rotating. It was rotating as it was moving along. And when I was looking up there, I didn't know I was an experiencer back then, but I was. So when I was looking up there, I was just kind of like, what is that? Like, what is that? I can't remember if I told my mom or not. I maybe did. I can't remember. But, oh, okay, so that was the balloon experience. Oh, I don't know what time it is. Okay, this other, wait, let me see what time it is. Crap, I don't know how much longer I could go. 48 minutes. Okay, so, okay, I guess maybe I could talk about this other experience really quick. Okay, so this is the last one. Okay, so, okay, this was a couple weeks ago. Okay, I had an out-of-body, no, this wasn't lucid dream. This was an out-of-body experience, virtual reality experience. I can't remember if I was asking for an experience or not, but it happened about 2.5 or 3 weeks ago. I meant to talk about it before now, but it was kind of fun. So I was actually sleeping in that back bedroom right there. I was sleeping in the back bedroom. And, but the scenario started on the day bed. I was in 3D time, I was in the back bedroom. But the scenario started that I was sleeping on the day bed. That's how the scenario started under the altered state, under the out-of-body experience. I was sleeping on the day bed, but in real life, I was sleeping in that back bedroom. Okay, so I heard somebody knocking on my door. So I woke up, I went to the door. This was an out-of-body experience, virtual reality experience. I went to the door, and I noticed my door was open. It had another door in front of the door, and they've done this before. Because they're copying that off my grandma's door, because she would have, the wood door, and in front of the wood door she would have glass, a metal heavy, with glass in it, screen door. And so it's funny how the aliens copy that, because in the scenario, it was like the screen door. I mean, both doors were like completely open about that far, and I was like, I looked at the door and I'm like, somebody's trying to break, into my house. And like I said, the scenario started when as I was sleeping on the daybed. That's when the scenario started. Under the altered state, I was sleeping on the daybed, but I really wasn't. In 3D time, I was sleeping in the back bedroom, but they started the scenario, the out-of-body experience, as I was that I was sleeping. I started the altered state experience on the daybed. That's how it started. I was out of body on the daybed. And like I said, I heard knocking on the door. Or like somebody was trying to break in, or knocking or whatever. I can't remember. Like somebody was trying to break in. So I went to the door, and like I said, both doors were open like that far. And I looked down, and there was a black and white cat that guy had hurried up and placed it right there. And I was just like, oh my God, how cute, how adorable. Well, it was kind of funny. The aliens were answering my call because I've been kind of wanting another cat like Bobbee. Because Bobbee's my cat that died a couple years ago, or a year ago or whatever. So they were answering my call. They were giving me another cat. See, sometimes they'll do it in an altered state instead of in 3D. So they were giving me this little black and white cat. And I picked it up, and I was just like, wow, it's so adorable. And it was a boy. It was like so adorable. And I noticed his tail was that long. Bobby's tail was that long. And my mom has a cat, a bobcat or whatever, bobtail cat, and its tail is also that long. And in this scenario, this Bobbee number 2, the tail was that long. And so then, and I was just like, wow. And I was so excited, and it was just like, oh, it was just so adorable. I don't know how the aliens do it, but they make you feel these real deep feelings, And so then I was like, so I went outside, and I'm like, I ran after this man. He looked about 35. He looked like he was Amish or Mennonite or something. And he's like, I was like, did you try to break into my house? And he denied it. He's like, no. And he didn't say, he gave me, no, maybe he, wait a minute. Well, maybe he did, but he didn't necessarily say he put the cat down there, but I know he put the cat down there because it was kind of obvious, because I saw him walk away from the door. But he didn't necessarily say well, yeah, he did. He said it later, though. So anyway, so so as I was walking out the door and I was like chasing after him, I was like, hey, did you break into my house? And he's like, no. He said that he represented, this was kind of funny. He said he represented the angels, and he was told to give me a cat. And so he did finally, but it's like he didn't admit actually breaking into my house. He admitted to giving me the cat. But I was like, did you break into my house, And so then he said he represented the angels, and he was giving me that cat. So that was kind of funny. And then I noticed there were like 10, 12 other Mennonite, Amish-looking people standing around, men and women. And there was like a van, as far as I remember, a van sitting there. And in the scenario, it seemed like my whole front yard was like 10 times bigger. And there was no other houses that were just super duper close to me. And okay, now here's the funny part. So as I was trying to get the man to admit that he broke into my house, and he didn't admit breaking into my house. He just said I was called on. He said I was representing the angels and I needed to give you this cat, because that's why he broke into my house. He placed the cat down right there in the hallway, and then he went back out the door. But this is kind of funny. So after he talked to me a little bit and said that he gave me the cat, and this is kind of funny. I looked up on my roof, and my roof was completely flat. And the aliens copied that because back when I used to live in Kansas City, there were a bunch of houses that had completely flat roofs. And I don't know if I'd ever want a house like that, but they were completely flat roofs. And in this scenario, my roof was completely flat. And the funny thing is, I looked up, and half of the side on top of the roof was nothing but like knickknacks and stuff that I have in my house. Like one of the knickknacks was that big wood thing that Brenda gave me a long time ago. That big wood thing house plays music. Like that was on top of the roof, and it was all lined up. All these knickknacks that I actually have in my house on top of the roof. All the knickknacks, like wood and stuff like that, and some of them were probably not wood, and candles and stuff. They were all like lined up all the way across the roof, just sitting there. Except half the side was knickknacks, the left side was like knickknacks and like that wood thing. The other side of the roof was all of my like stuffed animals. And like the stuffed animals that I have a bunch of stuffed animals. I actually got rid of some not too long ago, but I have a bunch of stuffed animals up on top of my kitchen cabinet. In the scenario, like I say, half the side, the left half side was all nothing but knickknacks sitting on top of the roof, all lined up. Various knickknacks that I have in my house, and they all were at least, that tall. And one of them was that wood thing over there. And like I say, the other half was nothing but the stuffed animals that I have in my house. All these stuffed animals. And all along, it filled up the whole roof. Just sitting there on top of the roof. And I was looking up there, and I was like, did my mom come and decorate my house while I was still sleeping, on the daybed? I was thinking that in the scenario, because like I say, the scenario started, the out-of-body experience started, I was sleeping on my daybed, but in real life, I was actually sleeping in the back bedroom. And I was looking up there, and I was like, how did my mom have time to come do this? And I was like, did she come decorate my house while I was still sleeping, on the daybed? But anyway, that was kind of weird. And then I went back inside, and I started playing with Bobbee some more and observing him and stuff. And, he was just the most adorable cat. I don't know how the aliens do it. But they just, oh my God. They gave me the most adorable cat. Kind of like, it was, kind of like Bobbee. Except, well, Bobbee really wasn't, well, he was adorable, but he was kind of had a mean side. But his tail was that long, and so that was the end of the scenario. I came back in, and I started to play with Bobbee again and pick him up, Bobbee number 2. So anyway, that was kind of fun. But it was just kind of cool, some of the things that aliens do. They do funny things like that, because in real life, you would never put all those knickknacks. And like I say, my roof was completely flat. In real life, even if it was completely flat, you wouldn't be putting all these knickknacks and then all of these stuffed animals, all along the roof. I guess the aliens maybe took that from my brain, because one time, some apartment I had, I did put a bunch of baskets. I lined baskets all along the kitchen, the top of the kitchen. And so the aliens probably copied that and did something similar, except this time they did something, with the roof and stuff in my scenario. But yeah, it was just so, I was just like looking at all the little intricate stuffed animals and all the little knickknacks, and every single one of those things, I had in my house. And I thought maybe, my mom had came and decorated. But anyway, and it never was determined if she really did or not. But anyway, so the end of the scenario, and like I say, there was about 12, 13 people standing around that were with that guy, that Amish Mennonite guy or whatever. But anyway, that was kind of a fun experience. But yeah, and that's not the first time, they've started the scenario, like when I had my futon couch, they started the scenario as me sitting on the couch, and this time, I was sleeping in my daybed. That's when they started the scenario. But I was really, sleeping in that, back bedroom in 3D. Okay, what else are they going to say? But anyway, I know that's relevant. When I was an infant baby and I slept for 12 hours straight, which I guess is odd and rare for an infant baby. Or at least my brother wasn't doing it, my sister wasn't doing it. And so my mom thought that was odd, and she kept asking the doctor if she should wake me up, and he said no, which I'm glad he did say that, because I wouldn't want my mom to wake me up if I was having these awesome lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences. But even today, I just love to sleep, and I can sleep, a lot. Normally not 12 hours straight, though. But I could do 11 hours, but normally I'm still going to wake up a couple times. Thanks for listening.